Wuthering Waves is primed for release tomorrow, and my hype levels are barely existent, but that is because once upon a time a man that goes by the name of Peter Molyneux killed my ability to get hyped for anything ever again. But maybe that's a story for another time. Let's just say I try to be cautiously optimistic about any new game release now. With that said, I do have ideas for what this game can do to beat out the competition. For several years I've played Genshin Impact, a game that is riddled with problems that have held back the great potential it once had. This leaves Kuro Games in a strong position. If they are able to address the majority of the problems Hoyoverse did not for a certain subset of their customer base, they could find themselves nabbing some active and loyal players. So here are a few things that I believe Wuthering Waves needs to get right to set itself apart from the competition. People like nice things. When you give them nice things, they like you more. A great case study for this is how Hoyoverse treats the Genshin player base compared to Starrails. The former barely gives anything away, even on special occasions such as an anniversary event. Meanwhile, the latter gave away a free 5-star around the same time. This caused a backlash that could have easily been avoided by simply listening and making the appropriate changes to their strategy. Unfortunately, Genshin is no stranger to this, as it's a yearly tradition around this time. All Wuthering Waves needs to do is be more generous and give more than the competition. If Genshin makes no changes to their approach going forward, they'll simply dig their own grave, over and over again. But while we're on the subject of generosity, let's talk a bit about banners. On Genshin's weapon banner, we have the epitomized path. This is a system where if you fail to get the selected 5-star weapon 2 times in a row, you're guaranteed on the 3rd attempt. To any players that joined after the Staff of Homer release, you won't be aware that this never used to be a thing. Originally it was entirely down to chance which one you'd get, leaving some people spending thousands to get what they wanted. I believe this is Hoyoverse's definition of consumer friendly. Naturally, the backlash forced them to pivot. What people wanted was a simple 50-50 then guarantee feature for a single weapon. Yet greed got the better of them, and what we got was the epitomized path. Comparatively, Starrails' Lightcone banner was a drastic improvement because it was exactly what people asked for. Funny how easy that was for them, wasn't it? All Wuthering Waves needs to do in this regard is appear more generous than Starrail, and it appears this is already the case. Their weapon banner allows you to select a weapon that you will receive once you hit the pity of 80 pulls. This is 10 pulls less than both Hoyoverse games, which feels better for players on a psychological front. We do have to factor in currency distribution, so although the number is lower, what it costs and how easy it is to accumulate that currency is really the defining factor here. With that said, there is one other major detail that makes this 100% better. There appears to be no 50-50 system. When you hit 80, you get the weapon you choose. Unlike epitomized path, if you change your mind and select a new weapon midway, the pity still carries over. This is true for both standard and event banners, and I'd assume pity carries between the events as well. From this same source, they explicitly state that character banners feature a 50-50 system just like Genshin, but yet again the pity is 80. Pulling on weapon banners always feels bad. Players generally care more about actual characters, so if this information is correct, this is an incredibly good move. One reason I have used to advocate for strong endgame content in Genshin is simply to keep the hardcore audience engaged. Although I don't have the data to back it up, my assumption is hardcore players are more likely to spend more due to their time investment. Gaming is usually their main hobby, they spend the majority of their time in it, and often they are there for the long haul if you continue to cater to them. I have no doubt they are a small piece of the pie, but hardcore players are your free marketing. They'll promote your game for you if you treat them right. And how do you cater to them? You give them challenges and ways to push their accounts to the limit. The inclusion of features such as scoreboards to create a soft level of competition within the community could also go a long way. But what I also believe Genshin should have done was extend its other core mechanics into its endgame. Outside of combat, what is the core of these two games? Well, it's exploration, of course, and unfortunately, once you have explored everywhere and collected all the chests, that part of the game goes away until another major patch. But there is a way to make exploration, collection and movement part of the endgame. That would be through procedural generation. Remember when Genshin had the Labyrinth Warriors event? Well, imagine if they invested more time into that and made it permanent, introducing trap rooms, chests and challenging boss fights. Then at every major patch, introduce more stuff or entirely new dungeon types. Endgame doesn't just have to be about combat, it should aim to incorporate the majority of what makes the game what it is, as that is the initial draw for the majority of the player base. I'm not saying this is what the endgame should be exclusively, as simple combat trials have a lot of value too. I'm just outlining that dungeon crawling fits nicely within the spirit of these games. Genshin has always dragged its feet when it comes to patches, rarely listening to feedback. On the other hand, Honkai Starrails constantly introduces quality of life changes that make the day-to-day grind less insufferable. Simply putting quality of life changes high on the priority list is going to help Wutherin's relationship with the community. Also, for the love of God, give us a skip option for story segments. Make it have a little box show up summarising the interaction in text please. Although I know this is a point of contention, I feel they should really consider balance patches too. Yes, it sucks to invest money in a character and have them nerfed soon after, however keeping other options viable is also important. Over time the game systems will change and the mentality of its player base will shift as well. As more intricacies of the systems are discovered, weak characters can suddenly become the strongest, while others who were once considered good can completely fall off. By showing willingness and making adjustments early, players will no longer feel deflated when a character they are anticipated releases in a poor state. I personally know a few people who were excited for a specific character, but their poor release state caused them to quit the game, simply because Hoyoverse would never address the issue. As for major patches, more permanent content could be a huge win for Wuthering Waves. Genshin often gives and then takes away. I understand there is an issue of storage, as it is a game available on mobile, but there is an easy fix for this, that is content packs. To keep content in the game, you can make it an optional download that you can later uninstall if you need to make space for something else. Funnily enough, Genshin already does this with its voiceover files, yet they refuse to consider the idea for other content such as event stories. Genshin event stories have always been so bland because they need to be consumed in a bubble, which is a direct side effect of how the content is temporary. Content designed around the idea of permanence can be less filler orientated, as new players will be able to experience it without missing out on the context due to its absence. Permanence also allows long-term players to have a bit of a break now and again. Fighting to keep a player constantly engaged through forced means like FOMO does have its negatives, and it can quickly turn a game into a chore. Players can sometimes feel like they're unable to take a break, and by the time they decide to put the game down, they do it with the intent of never coming back. FOMO removes player urgency. It is an artificial way of farming engagement, where permanence allows them to play on their own terms. Engagement will come with the quality of the content that players genuinely want to participate in. I'm not saying throw the baby out with the bathwater. Temporary events do have their place and can be a huge draw. The problem arises when a huge percentage of content added is quickly taken away. Now before I wrap up, there is one more thing that I believe Wuthering Waves should do that would absolutely destroy the competition. But before I reveal that, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below and leave a like. Also consider sharing this video with others. This channel is fairly new and any help is greatly appreciated. Now the way this game could become the true Genshin killer is more boob windows. And with that bombshell, I highly recommend this video here that covers that very subject of a Genshin killer. So click the link and I'll see you there. And if you don't want to do that, would you kindly bugger off?